So this is the guy. This is the guy that's going to save Barcelona. Problem is, Carlo. So I'm going to start a new game as Barcelona manager, but we're going to do it using Hansi Flick ball. So his tactics for Barcelona, it's a new world. And let me tell you this, there's some booming results coming up. So season 1, now I've called this the free hit. Why? Because we're starting the game when he's not actually in charge and it's last season's squad. So you've got players that aren't going to be there when he's in charge, such as Felix, such as Cancelo, players like that. But it gives us a chance to see if the tactic's going to work for Barcelona. A completely new way of playing for them. You can see there, that's the video that I did on the Hansi Flick style for Bayern Munich. We're going to incorporate that for Barcelona. Like I said, it's a complete different type of way of playing for Barcelona. It's not your tiki-taka anymore. Flick is known for aggression, high tempo, pressing, attacking football. There is a separate video all about the Flick tactic. I am going to make a couple of tweaks to it to make it a bit more Barca friendly because he's going to have different type of ballers here, especially season 1, before we can get some players in to make it a total Flick tactic. The only change I'm going to make first up is change the complete wing back to a normal wing back. Reason being, the players that are going to be playing here love a roam about, so I want him to stay wide. Now, his Bayern team were aggressive as hell, and this is going to be no different, but we are going to make another tactic just because we've got some serious ballers who are probably going to play in those 2 DM positions, so we need to make it a little bit more expressive. And that's where this version comes in. The big changes, obviously we've got the wing back on attack, but we've got a register and a deep line playmaker, because in those 2 positions, it's highly likely it's going to be Frenkie de Jong and Xavi, both exceptional on the ball, so we might as well play to their strengths. So now we've got 2 tactics. We're probably going to use this one at home and against weaker teams. And we've got this as the base tactic. Stingy Flick Barca, Stingy Flick Barca home. Both will be in my Patreon. Right, the free hit season. How did it go? Well, it started off pretty well. And once I started hitting the groove, nobody was safe, including Real Madrid in the Spanish Cup final. And Pep's Man City in the Champions League got it as well. In fact, the season as a whole was pretty damn successful, more than I thought it would have been. So in the free hit season, we won La Liga ahead of schedule on goal difference. We scored over a ton, so did Real Madrid, but we just did a little bit more. We also claimed the Spanish Cup, like you saw, the Spanish Super Cup as well. And incredibly, at Wembley Stadium, we beat Arsenal in the Champions League final. I guess you could say they adapted quite well to it. So look, I kind of knew it was going to go well. It's a solid tactic. I didn't think it was going to go that well, but it was a free hit. We're disregarding it. We're going to build from now. And I started bringing in some younger players near the end of the season. You all have heard of Lamine Yamal. I started bringing him in near the end of the season. He started 7 matches. He scored 10 times, 7 assists. He's only 16. He's going to be integral from next season. We've also got a host of players out on loan. There's some aging players. This is a transfer window where we do a bit of work. But first season done with Flick's tactic. Result, quadruple. Madness. Transition season. We can't do most of the work we want to because Barca are skint. So we're going to keep hold of a couple of players that you might think we're going to get rid of. Lewandowski's going to stay. Gundogan's going to stay. But I'm going to ship out some others where I can. Sergio Roberto. But we're going to rely on youth team as well. I'm going to dive into the development centre and bring them up. It's a big thing I want to do is use that youth. So we started to cash in on players. Sergio Roberto, we got 12 million for him. Brilliant. 9.5 million for Dest to Benfica. Martinez went to Marseille for 9 mil. And we sent a load of players out on loan. Right. Now in transfers in, I've only made one signing. Jan Couto, he comes in on loan from Man City. It's cheap and we're skint. Other places in the squad will be filled by some key players I've brought up from the youth team. First off is Noah Davish. He's 17. He can play in any position across the front or in midfield. You know about Lamin. I'm actually going to play him as the number 10 this season. He's going to start most of the matches. I've also brought up Alex Val. He's going to be a left-back cover. And back from his loan spell at Brighton, Ansu Fati's back. And we're going to make a success of him because he's still got talent. All that means this team looks like this for this season. A couple of small tweaks from last season. Fati's in. We've got Lamine Yamal's going to start as the number 10 instead of João Felix. And Couto will be there instead of Cancelo. So big season here, transition season. Lewandowski's going to be vital. We can't replace him. We've got no money. So we'll get one more season out of him. One more season out of Gundogan. Let's see how we do in season 2. With a similar squad, there were similar results. Balmy. Over in Saudi Arabia, we won the Super Cup again. By the way, a great return for Hansi Flicks, who ended up scoring 19 goals for the season. Anytime you can go to Bernabeu and win, it's a good thing. We knocked City out of the Champions League again, and TATO, their own player, scored the winner. Awkward. We scored 10 in the Champions League. In La Liga, we were almost faultless. Only one defeat. Can you believe it? It was away at Elche.
He didn't just say that.
Lewandowski was outrageous all season, and we secured back-to-back La Ligas with 103 points, only one defeat, and we scored a whopping 131 goals. Disappointingly though, a fired-up Newcastle turned around a first leg defeat and knocked us out in the semis of the Champions League. That's my fault for getting sloppy. But another 2 trophies for the Flick Tactic. Now is some big work for the rebuild season, Season 3. So this one's called the rebuild season because it's the first time I've actually had a little bit of money to get some players in, mostly by player sales to be honest, and here's the big ones that have gone. Took a risk by getting rid of Rafinha. He's gone on loan to Napoli, but they've got to make it permanently. It's about 50-60 million. Now the wage bill's been eased because Lewandowski's gone to Saudi Arabia. So has Gundogan. That's alright, they're chilling. They're going to make some bank in the later years. Christensen went to Newcastle for 60 mil, and I finally got rid of Clement Longley. Romeo's gone to Roma. They're going to sign him at the end of it for 4 mil. All in all, we brought in nearly 80 million there. Now, with Lewandowski gone, that's a huge hole at the top of the pitch. He scored 40 odd times in that season last season. Also, the right back, we've had 2 on loan now in Cancelo and Couto. Need to replace them. And we need to get some more Flick style players, some aggressive, high press, physical players. Here's what we came up with. Okay, I think we've finally got our right back. Diego Dalot joins from Man United on loan, but it's going to be permanent end of the season for 30 million. A bit of steel and class for central midfield is João Gomez. Comes in from relegated Wolves for 45 million. A right Hansi Flicks style player, tackling, passing, work rate, aggression, perfect. And the big signing to replace Robert Lewandowski. We triggered the clause in Azim Hen's contract, 84 million. He's our new striker. On his debut, Azim Hen bagged the hat-trick. As we beat Girona 9-0, this season could be fun. So before we get into the season results for Season 3, the rebuild season, you may notice all the subs now, pretty much all of them, and this is what I'm dead proud of, and what I'm going to keep going through this save is, they're all basically from Barca. All of them. They're from the youth team, other than Gomez, who we brought in. You've got Victor Roque, who was brought in previously. But these players like Bernal, for example, are going to be a superstar. Superstar, only 18. So that's the backup is going to be the Barca core. Right, let's see what happens in Season 3. Following that Girona result, Hansi Flicks continued his renaissance and we destroyed Man City. Wow, 5-2 away. That was not a fluke because this season results like that kept coming. 5-0 against Bilbao. Another 9-0 win against Elche. 8 against Espanyol. Fatty hat-trick. And probably the most impressive of the lot, in their Clasico, how about 6-1 against Real Madrid? Another Spanish Cup came as they continue to buy into this Flick style of play. Another scorching season ends with 105 points, only the one defeat, and check this out, 137 goals for, only 19 against. Victor scored 56 times, not a bad replacement for Lewandowski, but most exciting was the performance of Lamine Yamal. I started him 52 times and he got 24 assists. The only disappointment was an extra time defeat to Man United in the Champions League final. They beat us 4-3, which meant a stunning season ends with a double, but it would have been so sweet to get that Champions League. So now these boys have bought into this tactic, they are flying. We're starting to bring in players that suit it as well with the 2 versions. To be honest, I use this one 95% of the time. Flip to this one now and again, but it does leave you a bit more exposed, so bear that in mind. Now, we move on to Season 4, and that's going to be the legacy part of this journey. Season 4, the legacy of Flick. This is where we're starting to build it. We've got our average age of our squad down to 24 now. Eric Garcia went to Man United in the last transfer window for about 35 million. He's never going to play for me. There's not much we can improve on, having only lost 1 game last season. Again, the bench is our youngsters. We're going to bring a few more of those up as well. Hector Fort comes up, 19-year-old who can play across the back line. Johan Bakayoko's coming in from PSV on a free transfer. Again, great physical asset for this Flick style of play. I spent 39 million on Diomande for centre-back cover. Season 4 started off nicely. Some big wins and not a defeat until this one against Atletico Madrid. Not sure what happened there. But we fired back in the Spanish Cup final, beating Atletico Madrid in this one, taking back that trophy. And then smashed them in the league. Yeah, that's revenge. Liverpool visited the new camp. Real Madrid visited the new camp for their new yearly battering, and there's youngster Davish with a little dink. Lovely. Another 6-goal Clasico win. We took down the title again on goal difference this time because Real Madrid were a little bit better, but still another 132 goals. It really should have been another quadruple. AC Milan in the final of the Champions League, and they did us on the break. That was the team for most of the season, and on the bench is again all the youngsters. Shane Cliver has been brought up as well to provide a bit more cover. So now the trophies are starting to stack up. That's 4 years in, and how many is that? 4, 6, 8, 11 trophies in 4 years. I think we do one more season to complete this project. So this is the project complete chapter, and as you can see, we have completely sorted the finances out. They've got a 400 million balance now. The transfer budget is down at 46 million because we've spent a little bit. We've got ourselves a Barca-style marquee signing. Ferran Torres has gone to Liverpool, by the way. 77 million? Good deal. Especially when his replacement is Kvaratskhelia. 95 million from Napoli, and he started like a house on fire. Also leaving us is ter Stegen. He's 35. I accepted 30 million from Saudi, and his long-term replacement will be Marco Canaseschi from Atalanta for about 45 mil. That's the way the team looks for this season. Kvaratskhelia will probably start out there, and Hansi Flicks will battle with him. Lamine Yamal, by the way, last season, are you ready for this? He scored 30 times in 35 matches, 16 assists with an average rating of over 8. And remember, he's still only 20. So the squad is very heavily still Barcelona. You've got Araujo from the start, Balde, De Jong, Xavi, Pedri, Lamine Yamal. And on the bench, it's all Barca. Most of them from the youth setup, which I love. So just those 2 signings in, that's a squad. It's nice and tight squad, compact, but they are exceptional with the physicals. Loads of Barca kids there been promoted up. Our net spend after all this is we've spent 365, we brought in 274. So what's that? 90 million over 5 years at Barcelona? I think that's pretty good. So this will be season 5, this young, vibrant squad in the Flick style. Let's see how they do. In terms of standout results, this season was probably the best one. This is Real Madrid again. You know the rest. This is Atletico Madrid, a team that we've had a bit of trouble with in the past, but not anymore. And in the Champions League, the batterings continued. Bayern Munich came to the club, and Kvaratskhelia put them to the sword. His season, by the way, wow, 37 goals in his 53 matches with 15 assists. Possibly the best campaign in the league yet, winning 35 out of 38 and scoring an unbelievable 143 goals, conceding only 22. Completely against the script, Big Angie's Real Sociedad knocked us out of the Spanish Cup in the quarters, and after years of batterings, Real Madrid got their revenge by knocking us out of the Champions League. Where did that come from? But still another successful season, taking down the Super Cup alongside that stunning league campaign. So crew, after 5 years of flickball at Barcelona, 13 trophies are taken down, including 5 back-to-back La Ligas. That's alright. Most of the time I used the base tactic there. Occasionally we'd use this one, but most of the time it was this one. You can see the chemistry between the players there. Now there is a separate video on these tactics, but because I've slightly tweaked it for Barca, I'll stick the play instructions on the end. But remember, all tactics, of course, are in my Patreon. But if the real life team can adapt as fast as the FM team did, exciting times ahead for Barca.